Talib Kweli. Tip top, best alliance in hip hop. Why oh? Say 1, 2, 3. It's kind of dangerous to be an MC. Wait, hold on. Mm-hmm. Sorry, real quick. They shot Tupac and Biggie. Who shot Tupac and Biggie?
Oh, I mean, I believe, especially since it's Mos Def and Talib Kweli at that time saying that line, they were more of under the belief that the government or the cops.
Oh, they thought the police shot.
Yeah, and not like
Biggie
they thought in that they were confused about what happened, meaning they're like, well, even if they got black people, meaning gang members, to shoot them, the CIA or the cops or the FBI was behind it.
Okay, hold on. I just want to check something really quickly before we move on with the episode.
Yeah.
Can you point out to me any associations Talib Kweli might have had with Sean P. Diddy Combs? Let's see if there's any. I don't want to be presumptuous here. All right, there's none. Yashin Bey were part of the late 90s. Damn. Well, I was really hoping that would be fun, but
it's also that's kind of, and you know, I like Talib Kweli, so I'm not trying to whatever, but it's mentioning business they've had together, songs they may have had together, and saying there was none. That doesn't mean that they weren't friendly.
Hold on. Is there any known evidence that Talib Kweli ever attended one of the Diddy parties? I just for my own peace of mind, I'm not aware of any credible, all right, operated in the same broader hip hop industry. Yeah. I'm trying to manufacture a beef between me and Talib Kweli. I gotta say, I loved Black Star.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, if I had to describe my musical tastes when I was 22 years old, I would have described myself as a mixture of post-hardcore, which I would still say. Mm-hmm. That's a very Canadian term we use, post-hardcore.
Oh, okay.
Just so you that's like a lot of Canadian bands fit into that. So like an Alexis on Fire, a Death from Above, a Fucked Up. These are like considered post-hardcore bands.
Do you know what's the only thing I know about Alexis on Fire?
What's that?
Is that I was told by a high school friend that if you type in alexisonfire.com, it's actually a porn site.
And?
Yeah, that's all I know about it.
Was it?
I think so. I don't know. My friend told me that.
Okay, all right. But you never checked?
No.
Do you remember Lemon Party?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lemonparty.org. We're not confused about what happened there at all.
Right, yeah. But no, I remember the reference that this one was not even something like, I mean, I'm not going to call that gross. I mean, if you're gay and into older men.
No, I think 3 geriatric men tongue kissing, you're allowed to legally called gross.
To just gross it.
Yeah. If it has nothing to do with the homosexuality even of it necessarily. I think if you watched 2 elderly people passionately kissing of any gender, it would probably wig you out like a pretty equal amount to like. At no point was I like, oh, gay when it came to Lemon Party. It was just old people kissing.
Right. It's old balls, old.
Yeah. Old, wrinkly old women. You kind of at a certain age, don't we sort of just all kind of cross a line? Like, I feel like men get enough estrogen and women get enough testosterone later in life that we're all sort of just trans.
So you're saying it's okay if I'm attracted to an old man, not a man.
Yes. Yeah. Like, listen, if you were to tell me, let's play this out for a moment. If you were to say I butt fucked a 22-year-old man, boy, whatever, man, legally, and then you were like, I butt fucked a 70-year-old, I would definitely think it's gayer to have butt fucked the 22-year-old. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. You know what it does make me think of, and I've told you this about this show before. You got to watch it. I think this is a must-watch for you and Kennedy. It doesn't fall down something you guys would watch, but I'm just saying there's at least the first season is a must-watch. It's called Beauty in Black, and it's a Tyler Perry show on Netflix that's currently going on and hitting numbers.
Like, so it's currently going on in its first season, or
No, we're probably in like season 3 or 4.
Okay.
And he's doing the old half a season release,
And
you
then
wait
take a little break,
half
and
a
then
season.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it feels like 8 seasons.
Sure.
But, whatever. But the more I think about this show, there's so many things about it that is clearly Tyler Perry trying to tell us something about him. My first indication, and it's all that he's gay. And
Okay.
I respectfully, I support his.
well, he did dress as a woman
journey.
for like 19 movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I could take that as a good example of that, but you're making money, so that's why you do things. But it's just so the first thing that I noticed is that he.
Sorry, not to interrupt you again,
Yeah.
but it is funny that Dave Chappelle was like, they try to make black men wear dresses, and then Tyler Perry was like, hold my beer.
Yeah. This is all I want to do.
I'm going to do nothing but wear dresses. Sorry. Anyways,
You know
this
what?
show.
Maybe it was like they can't make me do anything.
I'm going to fucking do it on my own.
yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
to preempt them and just wear the dress right out the rip, and then they can't control me.
That's right. I
That's
made
an
the
interesting.
choice.
Yeah. That's so sorry, but his show.
Yes, but the two things about it that are revealing that he may be gay is that some of the scenes take place in a strip club. Some of the characters are strippers.
Okay.
And I've told you this before. It's a co-ed strip club. There's men and women on the same night. If you go there, you can go over here and see women getting naked, and then you can go over here and see men getting naked.
In the same room.
In the same room, which
Yeah,
I've
that
never
makes
seen.
no sense. That doesn't
for me.
happen. Yeah.
Right. So that's whatever. But as the season and the show goes on, every scene in that strip club, there's less and less women. There's a lot of men.
It's just danglers over and over again.
Yeah, a lot of the B-roll is just more and more men
Yeah.
as you watch the show. And then the other thing is there's a character in the show who is an older guy, and he's doing gay things. And he gets questioned like, oh, you're gay? And he's basically, his whole story is, I'm not, but I've done everything else in life. And like, now that I'm older or whatever, this is where my mind went.
I like that this is Tyler Perry's version of Stanley Kubrick telling us what's happening in Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
This versions of Eyes Wide Shut is just, I'm an old queenie black guy.
There's something there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm very excited for you to watch the show eventually. And just, I need your mind to look at it with me. Not together at the same time. That makes
Sure.
it more gay.
Yeah. That would be equally as gay.
Yeah. We'll put the blanket over our hips and watch. But no, yeah. I need just something about it is revealing. There's something. It feels like if he painted a picture and there's little stories in each part of the picture, and you have to see it.
Is it like a version of he did a Rorschach test and everything came up
Yeah.
dicks?
This is yes.
Yeah.
This is what
Okay.
it feels like. But I'm sure there's other elements in it too, like his commentary and other things. But I feel like this is his magnum opus of a metaphor of what he really thinks of himself and society.
Like, do you know the movie Powder from the 90s?
Is that the one where it was like a? No, I was thinking
He's like an
Perfume.
all-white bald
No.
guy, and he like absorbs your power or whatever. But apparently, it was entirely a metaphor for pedophilia. The director went on to direct Jeepers Creepers, and which is a pretty fun horror movie. I never like fully watched Powder, but Jeepers Creepers is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Ryan Long, great, or not Ryan Long. Sorry, Ryan Long is no, Justin Long.
Justin Long.
Yeah, and Ryan Long.
Yeah. It's early in his career.
Yeah. He was in the Johnstones still.
Yeah. I was gonna reference his band, but I didn't remember what it was.
Johnstones. He was a singer drummer. Yeah. If anybody's a fan of Ryan Long, go check out the Johnstones and watch him sing drum. But by the way, I just want to make very clear. I asked chat, and it says there is no public confirmation that Tyler Perry is gay. Over the years, there have been rumors and speculations about his sexuality, largely because he is a very famous public figure and because he often portrays the character Medea in drag. However, Perry has not publicly identified himself as gay. Publicly, Perry has spoken about relationships with women, including his past relationship with Gilia Beckel, whom he shares a son. Unless there's some personally stated their sexual orientation, it's best not to treat rumors as facts.
That's fucking hilarious because Gilia Beckel sounds like in a sitcom when a character is asked to make up their girlfriend.
Yeah. She lives in Canada.
Yeah. Gilia Beckel from Canada.
I'm dating Gilia Becca from Quebec.
Yeah.
And yeah. But anyways, but back to Talib Kweli on that issue. Maybe also, maybe he's been to a couple Tyler Perry parties. We have to look into that too. I love Talib Kweli. I'm just trying to manufacture a beef with him because I'm watching his social media and it's entirely just him picking fights with like followers.
Yeah.
Like just regular people. And it's like the most pathetic thing. Because you're just like, listen, whether or not he has anything to do with Diddy, like you could be fighting that fight, you know what I mean? Like you could be like fighting actual power centers, and instead he's just like, this Facebook follower is racist, and you're like, dude, what are you doing? Like
some people can't help it. Some celebrities.
And it just gets done. I mean, again, not to bring up Michael Rappaport in every episode, but like the idea that Michael Rappaport spends his entire day defending Israel is like incredible to me. Like, what? Like, did they not find anything more fun to do than to just like delve into their pet projects? And like, you see the video of Seinfeld saying that Palestine's not a real place?
No, but that
no one should be surprised. Like, I mean, that's clearly what his opinion has been for a while. But I think there is just something about getting like a guy just clearly going, I don't even think it exists. You know what I mean? Like,
although I will defend him a bit. I know what he means. I just don't know if he knows what he means because I don't know if Seinfeld is smart enough to know.
I would give Seinfeld credit. I might not agree with him. But I think he does. He is researched.
You think he's researched?
He hangs out with Colin Quinn too much not to be.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I once dropped Colin Quinn off to a lunch with Seinfeld. And like, so here's my whole strategy because I love Colin Quinn.
Yeah.
And my whole strategy with him was because I went to the Creek and the Cave in New York to see his Unconstitutional show while it was still free.
Great show.
And like one of his best ones. And afterwards, the owner, Rebecca Trent, love you, Rebecca, knew I was a big Colin guy. So she was like, hey, Colin, if you're going back into the city, because this was in Queens, Rob has a car, he can give you a lift. So I drove Colin from Queens into the city to drop him off. Nobody was supposed to know. It was just clearly with Jerry. And it was very cute. I will always give Colin Quinn credit for this because my strategy was to talk to him about Detroit because I know he was like an American history buff. And I know like a particular amount of Detroit that like your average person doesn't know. It was like the one area of America I felt comfortable talking to Colin Quinn about where I could be like, did you know this? And super sweet. When he got out of the car, it was me and Tyler Morrison was with me as well. And when Colin got out, he went, remind me your names one more time. And we said our names. And he went as he was getting out, he went, Rob Mayu, Tyler Morrison. And he like said it to himself. And then as he was getting out of the car one more time under his breath, he said, Rob Mayu, Tyler Morrison. And I was like, what a cute, even if he's lying, you know what I mean? Like, even if he doesn't have any intention to remember our names whatsoever, what a sweet gesture to make it seem like he's going to try to remember our names.
I'm also a big fan of Colin Quinn. I think up there in most underrated comedians of all time. Top 10. I'd go top 10 underrated for reasons of underratement. I've listened to a lot of him on Opie and Anthony, on other podcasts. Still, any podcast he does, I usually listen to. That also very much sounds like I have more proof in my head that he has autism.
Yeah. Oh, he's got to be a deeply... anyone who wants to do an hour-long show about the Constitution.
Yeah.
There's
He's as
like a
autistic
level
as Tyler Perry is gay.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to go that far.
And
that would be
Diddy's
someone
predator.
Fairly autistic.
No, but he definitely has an element of it and whatever. But what a beautiful thing that he did. And this is something that I wanted to touch on. We'll leave Talib Kweli alone. I'll wait till I have more fodder on him. But you didn't do anything with Diddy, but we'll find out next week what I can get you on. Tony Hinchcliffe's special came out this week, and I've so I'm trying to bring Norton in October, Jim Norton from Opie and Anthony fame, and it reminds me like I think that we've gotten to a point now where we forget sort of what the genesis of our type of comedy scene is to a degree now.
Yeah.
Like I remember coming up and going, oh, we're like the next thing off of Opie and Anthony.
Yeah,
As Legion of Skanks got popular, everything was about what's going, like Opie and Anthony was the universe of comedy for us. And then I think, I guess Death Squad would be the next logical.
Yeah, there's other branches. I think that the trunk is Opie and Anthony and
Yeah. Well, what other, like, I mean, branch wise, aside from Death Squad, because like you gotta give Joe, if we're talking a branch or like an umbrella, because Opie and Anthony, realistically, you can't look back at Opie and Anthony and go, well, they made Opie. Who's the smallest people off of Opie and Anthony?
like least.
Successful.
Oh, okay. Because smallest Jim Norton height wise.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe Voss, but
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
just sort of a little Jude fella. But
Although when you booked Bobby Kelly, also surprised that he's kind of short too.
because he's so fat, you think he's gonna be taller.
Yeah. People
Yeah,
think
he
that
does
about
have
me,
that
too.
thing about him. Yeah.
Yeah, popular. Yeah, I get. Well, now Opie for sure.
Opie and Anthony.
Both. Yeah.
They're the two least popular people from the orbit they existed in.
Yeah.
Jim's bigger. I mean, you get Bobby and Voss, you could maybe argue are comparable to Anthony, but like Burr and Louie and Patrice and Memory and whatever, all the people that were kind of part of that crew all got much bigger than Opie and Anthony did once Opie and Anthony died.
Which is crazy because I'm disagreeing with. I'm going to play semantics with what you just said. It's not exactly right what you said. They're not bigger. They're just bigger than what they are now. Nobody has risen to the height of what they were at their peak.
I would argue that Burr probably did and that Louie probably did.
Oh, sorry. Yes. You are right because as much as I love Opie and Anthony, I meet people my age all the time who had never heard of them.
And are very familiar with Bill Burr and Louis C.K. So I think that those are probably the two. If you love Patrice, you probably love Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
If you love Norton, you know Opie and Anthony. So like the rest of them are linked to it. But yeah, you're probably, I could get that argument in a way. But then the next thing really coming off of it, because as much as you want to pretend Skank, like, listen, I'm a Skanks guy through and through.
Yeah.
But Legion of Skanks wasn't necessarily the thing that drove all those people to success as much as it's sort of just the anchor in which all of it exists around currently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's more of a hub than it is necessarily the platform that launches them. Did Skanks help Shane a ton? Absolutely. I'm not going to pretend like Skanks didn't help Shane. But could Shane have happened regardless? Probably, yeah.
I think about this sometimes is like it's the same thing I have about certain music, about movies and stuff of like, will we ever be culturally obsessed with something so deeply like we used to be, or will be? Everyone feels segmented to me, right? And I think about that. Will any podcast? I know you could say Joe Rogan, but I feel like Joe Rogan was like a popularity thing, but not as much like people were like building a cult around him to be like, we love him no matter what. People loved characters that went on him, but like, I don't even find.
Well, there's a lot of, it did kind of morph to a degree because you could find that about Nick Fuentes. You know what I mean? You could find that about, I would argue, Gavin with the Proud Boys and whatever, but it became less where it was evangelical around comedy. But that was also a particularly rare thing. I wouldn't even say Stanhope has that. And Stanhope is kind of considered a god amongst a lot of us. And they don't even think that like Stanhope has that type of power. So I don't know.
Did I ever tell you that I love Stanhope for what he stands for way more than his comedy? Like, I like his comedy.
I think his comedy's underrated. I actually think Stanhope is far more hilarious. But I'm saying, like, hilarious than what he gets credit for. Like, I think Doug is... Listen, one of the earliest Doug Stanhope jokes. So I was titty fucking my girlfriend, and she said, how you going to make that feel good for me? And I said, when I come, I'll stop punching you in the head. That's just fun. You know what I mean? Like, he could write a fun joke.
I'll say this. I think Doug Stanhope this is a weird throwout because it's not like they dislike each other. Doug Stanhope is way funnier to me than Shane Gillis.
Okay.
And I like Shane Gillis. So it's not, I'm picking him because I like him. But I do think he's really hilarious. But I still love him more for when somebody explained me the story of he was not... People weren't fucking with him clubs-wise, venues-wise, or whatever, and he just built his own thing.
Well, I would argue that that's not even entirely the story. So I'm pretty familiar with the genesis of it. It was because of the San Jose Improv. I know exactly the birthplace of where the Stanhope thing kind of happened. The San Jose Improv had offered him whatever amount of money for a weekend, and he had realized from his last time playing there, he was like, well, I did this much in numbers, and like, there's no reason why they should only be offering me this. And San Jose Improv was the impetus for him to book a venue across the street from the San Jose Improv and run a show there and see what happens. And that was kind of the birth of it. People forget that Doug and who is the other guy? I want to say Eugene Merman. But
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I know it's a very opposite person.
Yeah.
Was it Eugene Merman or who the fuck? Todd Barry? Somebody in that ilk had a thing where they were like, I always call him hipster Larry the Cable Guy. Remember Paul F. Tompkins? Yeah. I hated Paul F. Tompkins. I fucking hated Paul F. Tompkins.
It's just not for me, but
it wasn't even just that it wasn't for me. It was that he talked so much shit. You know what? Like Larry the Cable Guy, when I got into comedy, was like the beacon of hatred. Right? Like David Cross wrote like a whole book about like hating Larry the Cable Guy, and it was just like, what a corny fucking thing. Like, leave Larry the Cable Guy. You know what I mean? It's the same way I feel about Talib Kweli attacking Facebook fucking... Or I'm like, this is the best use of your abilities is to attack this. I always hated Paul F. Tompkins for that because I felt like Paul F. Tompkins would wear this whole, like, white... He looked like Colonel Sanders. Like, he would dress in this fucking ridiculous outfit, and then he would complain about Larry the Cable Guy playing a character, and I was like... You're just the hipster version of Larry the Cable Guy. Like, what the fuck are you ultimately? Then whatever. You had a funny little mustache and whatever. And I was like, by the way, and now also, like, if you're at home and you pull up a picture of Paul F. Tompkins, understanding the influence that Gavin McGinnis of the Proud Boys had on what Paul F. Tompkins looked like is hilarious. Like, Gavin's a super fascinating guy for that reason. Do you know much about Gavin?
Yeah, enough, I guess.
He was one of the guys who started
Vice, and then I know his connection.
Even Vice's thing. It's also to argue against Gavin. What I find so funny about Gavin, and if I was talking to him, I would have argued about, is that Vice in the first place was a government subsidized magazine. Vice was The Voice. And it was a Haitian newspaper in Montreal that was just like they were getting money from the government to run a Haitian newspaper, but they weren't really doing anything with it.
Oh, are they connected to La Voix, which was like...
Maybe.
Oh.
It was La Voix. Is that a Haitian...
I just remember hearing about La Voix because I went to French school, so they would just had references to certain things.
I would assume that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, interesting.
And so what happened is they took over that magazine to basically just make it like a Montreal cultural magazine.
Right.
And then when they went private from having the public funds, they dropped the O and made it Vice instead of Voice.
Right.
So
which was a very smart move. It fits their brand, that what they became. Gavin is a weird. I I somewhat respect what he does
Sure.
or whatever, but also I came into Vice and liking what they were doing online way after.
Yeah. And I mean,
yeah.
most people were familiar with, like, I've got a couple of Vice magazines in a place that might have been from like the era where he was still involved. But most people understand Vice well past Gavin's period with it. But the influential people that liked Vice, that's when they liked Vice.
Right.
And that's what pushed culture. You know, by the time Vice was on HBO and whatever, I mean, they were great documentaries, but they weren't pushing culture anymore like they were prior.
No. It was like, I think for a very short time, it was more of a learning thing.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was a learning channel, not
here's this shit going on in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah,
you had never seen this shit before.
What was it? The dictator, bare naked,
Yeah,
whatever.
General
butt naked.
Yeah.
That type of shit.
Yeah.
And at that time, Gavin had moved on. He had a new project, I believe, was called like The Rooster or something.
Yeah.
And I remember he got fired from his own company, which was Rooster, for writing something transphobic. And that was like the first time where it was like a guy got fired from his own company for a thing. And then Rooster went on to be like nothing at all anyways. But Gavin was very interesting because he did like I like when Gavin introduces himself because he'll be like, I gentrified Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Like, that's a very funny thing to say, but like, because it has that like level of truth to it, you know, where you're like, this man invented hipsterdom and then went, I'm kind of done with this. I'm going to take the same model and flip it on its head. And like, I remember when I started comedy, people were like, the idea of a conservative comedian, people were like, well, what would be funny about that? Like, and they meant that genuinely. Like, that wasn't even like a statement of like, they were liberal and they were just going, oh, conservatives are stupid. They were just like, the concept of a conservative comedian just didn't make sense at that time because we were coming out of such a conservative culture. Like, you know, making fun of religion was like the first thing I decided not to do in comedy.
Yeah.
Because it was so many people made fun of religion in comedy, it got like boring fast. Like, it was early. That was the first thing early for me. Whereas, you know, 10 years prior, somebody was like, I'm not going to write any jokes about airplane food. I was like, I'm not shitting on religion because it's just fucking a waste of time.
Yeah. It became, to me, it felt like when I joined comedy, that's so funny. I realize that's a saying that people say, I joined comedy. When I started doing comedy, it's not a fucking cool guys club. It was just everybody was either atheist completely or not religious and thought being religious was fucking hilarious. And
now, everything was just making fun of it and whatever. And then after a while you look and you're like, you're all really sad and only have cats in your life. And so like, we're going to flip this on you. And then naturally comedy is going to go in the other direction. Comedy is almost like,
it's fascinating.
You know, like it had to be conservative for a period of time. Like, what were you going to do? Like the actual subversive voice, and comedy's meant to be subversive. It's going to have to. Now, I'm not saying be Tony Hinchcliffe and show up to the fucking a Republican convention. Like, that's where things cross the line. It's a tough week for Tony Hinchcliffe, everybody.
Yeah.
Please, everyone, if you can, go check out Tony Hinchcliffe's special on Netflix before Netflix panically takes it off in the night.
I have to watch it.
And it's his second one. People don't even realize it's his second one because the first one got taken off too.
Was it on Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix?
Okay, because that means it's the third one because he did
a YouTube special as well.
Yeah, because Ian Fergus told me about it.
I don't even know if I knew that one.
Yeah, and apparently that one not great either. But that one could have had the excuse of it was very early on in the days of like, I'm going to make my own special.
Yeah.
So was he ready for it or not? He was doing something, you know, new that people weren't doing, I guess. So you could argue that gets
it wasn't the one-shot one. Because that might have got released to YouTube later. His first Netflix special was called One Shot. And the idea was that everything was filmed off of one shot.
Right.
So like the camera like walked into the room, it followed it around, it whatever, and it never broke off of a singular shot, which sounds creative or sounds incredibly cheap, depending on how you want to look at it. Only hiring one cameraman is a pretty clever way of not having to spend a lot of money. So ultimately that could have been the influence on it, but they made it sound like the influence was whatever. Hi, Jay Rainville.
Oh,
I'm just doing my podcast. Yeah.
We're about to trash Tony Hinchcliffe's special.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, me neither. But we're hearing it's bad.
Well, so and you're okay, Jay. And I will say, Jay Rainville's in the room. Everybody, I'm going to use you as an example, Jay. How many books on stand-up do you own currently?
I would say that I own, I want to say 6.
So, and I'm gonna, and a lot of, by the way, the amount of people, and Jay, I like you very much. I don't even, maybe we'll come and just have you sit, but
Sure.
Jay, so Jay's a father.
Yes.
Jay's a Christian, as a matter of fact. Sure, whatever. But you don't have to. You don't have to run from that.
Yeah.
You did Christian rock at a point in your life.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, this is all going to be complimentary. I think your lifestyle sometimes turns other comedians off of you to a degree. Is that fair to say? Do you think like?
Yeah, I think I don't. Not to say that I don't have.
I don't think you're disliked.
No. I mean, it's not to say that I don't have friends, but I think that like I'm not. I don't get to hang as much as everybody else who does not have the same attachments that I do.
And
I think that hurts me socially, and so therefore it hurts me professionally because I'm not part of the group that gets booked.
Absolutely. I think that's very fair. And in the time I've spent with you on like legit gigs, like not talking about we run into each other at mics, but we've been on the road, we've done gigs together, whatever. You are, and I like that you walked in because it segues to me what my complaint was about Tony, and the overarching theme of the episode is you care about stand-up comedy. When you got into a little older,
yes.
like what
I started
age?
at 38.
38 years old. And so I think there's an element where you were like, I've got to catch up because I'm 38. But I think there's also an element that you respect the craft of stand-up comedy. Does that ring
It's
true
not
to you?
just respect. I love it. Is there any greater feeling than writing a good joke, like a joke that makes you laugh that you wrote?
So I will tell you, yes, making $30,000 a month on Patreon.
Yes, okay, fair.
And that has become the problem with stand-up comedy. And this is not just about Tony, but I think Tony is by the way, if you want, throw another mic in and let's just do the three of us. Jay being on is fine. Sure, yeah, absolutely. This, as much as people want to show on Tony, the market has created this situation where we don't even look at our stand-up anymore as the driving factor for our success, which means people have taken the pedal off of perfecting and making their stand-up great.
Yeah, I think like it seemed like in the past there were only so many spots at the top, and you needed to get past gatekeepers to get there.
Okay, that's
Right.
a very fair observation.
And then the internet and social media made it so that you could skip the line. And what that meant is that there's never been more chances or opportunities to make it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the cream rises to the top.
Fair. And you can live in a niche, we'll say talent show. Yeah, get on there. Jay Rainville, everyone.
That's me. Hi. What's going on? Good to see you, by the way.
Nice to
You
see
good?
you. Nice to see you.
I like this place.
Thank you very much. I'll give you a little tour after of whatever, but
Start with the bathroom.
Yeah. You don't have to stay on the don't feel like you have to stay on the entire time. You got a business
cool.
But I do think that you're actually a great example in this particular community of someone who has taken a real effort into being a good stand-up comedian, but maybe doesn't fit the archetype of now because it is kind of a brand business now to some degree.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to say that I'm not trying.
Sure,
I'm trying to do shitty posts online to try to boost followers because all I hear, particularly about the U.S., is that it's all about your numbers.
Sure.
So, like, it doesn't even matter if I think I'm a good comic or not. If you don't have the numbers, it doesn't matter.
And there is no real system in place anymore for, like, we're almost like fortunate. As many people want to shit on yuck yucks in this country, there actually is almost something nice about there still being a system of gatekeepers that don't care about your numbers.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you a story. I won't name the name, but somebody who's got a lot of followers. I was telling him a story about how Mark Breslin had said that like he's the only booker or owner in North America or maybe the world that isn't booking based on social media numbers.
That might be
Right?
entirely
He's just
correct.
like our model in Canada has always been see the stars of tomorrow today. And so like our thing was Yuck Yucks was the brand, not the comics.
Yeah.
You could depend on Yuck Yucks to give you good comics. But like in the US that doesn't matter. And so like, yeah, here you got to earn it.
Yeah.
I think that's the point you were making is like it's one person's opinion. You need to get past him to get onto the roster to get those opportunities. But I mean, it is a highly valued opinion.
Yeah, and like gatekeepers are almost entirely gone at this point because it's like, I mean, at this point, who's the main gatekeeper in comedy is Rogan, really, because like if Rogan thinks you're interesting enough to get on, no, listen, Rogan might not change your life anymore like he used to. The same way, like eventually The Late Show didn't change your life the same way, but a Rogan appearance means you're in the game still.
Yeah, like you're in contention.
Yeah, there's no.
Right, like-
I would be hard pressed. I would love to know the least successful comedian that has done a Joe Rogan appearance, and why is it Rich Voss? But like really, like it's got to be an old comic, right? Like who's the least successful person to do a Rogan?
Well, and I mean, and it's all relative, right? It's probably somebody who was mainstream successful,
Yeah.
who has not made the transition.
Yeah,
to-
like a Chris Titus.
sure,
Yeah.
right, or even like
Not to shit on
you
Chris
said,
Titus.
like Bob Saget. Like Bob Saget wasn't like an online social media personality to me.
Yeah.
but like he had that carryover from his career before,
Sure.
and was working as a result.
I would love to think that somewhere right now, Rich Voss is watching this clip, and the insinuation is that he's more successful than Bob Saget. He would be so thrilled
Is he?
with the idea. I would also like to see Rich die of a high velocity bathtub head injury, but
Is that what happened to Bob Saget? He hit his head. I know he hit his head, but I don't know how
it
he
was a
did it.
bathtub injury, and there is a deep conspiracy theory about it because they say that like the impact in which he hit is not conducive with like a slip. But
You
it's
know,
like,
but-
who was trying to kill
because
Bob
the Jews
Saget?
want Saget too. Is that how it goes though?
Yeah,
They're just
it-
offing everybody.
It doesn't seem like they needed to come for Bob Saget. I think he probably just died of a slippery tub.
That's what happened. That's so sad.
He slipped in the tub. Isn't that crazy? Do you know that when I was like 26-year-old, 26-ish, the world's oldest person was a 126-year-old lady in Afghanistan,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
all places. And she died slipping in the tub. Isn't that the worst?
They
Like,
have
who knows
tubs?
how much further she could have gone.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, but just also imagine surviving 2 world wars
Also, kind of surprising she owned a tub.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Afghanistan. One of the few showers
Right, I
in
just-
Afghanistan, and
She enjoyed a bubble bath.
You know, I'm ignorant about Afghanistan though, so
But also, you got to think someone had to find that body. Somebody found a wet, naked 126-year-old woman.
Are you saying that's your fetish dream?
I mean, I don't even know if you'd recognize it as a human body at that point.
Oh yeah. It probably looked like a
Wet, pruny.
A
Because you're
mush.
going to be pruny. You're dead in a tub.
Sure.
So that's a
yeah.
pretty pruny body to begin with.
I feel like it was. I really hate this image that you put in my head. I really
Because where do you
dislike.
grab it?
I'm
If
really-
you had to lift a naked
No, I'm
126-year-old
playing
woman
like
out of a
CSI
bathtub,
in my head. Did she live with people? But did she get found right away? They're like Nana, right? Like they
Yeah,
just
how
run in.
long
They
did she-
just heard the smack, but it was instant.
Yeah. Well, you probably wouldn't even hear the smack though, because it'd be a splash almost. It depends how full she got the tub first before she slipped, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because she could be like a minute into preparing the bath that she slept. No, but you don't step in. You step
Yeah,
in
that's
once the
what
tub
you
is
don't
ready.
step in until the tub's full.
Yeah, I haven't taken a bath in a really long time.
It's been an exceptionally long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Except for when I'm doing it with Ken. Like, we do it.
I don't know about any grown man. Like, can you find a tub that you can actually fit in that submerges your body?
Sanker, answer that question personally.
Hey, look, I'm off camera, so I'm as tall as Jay Rainville, and that's what he's
Sure.
suggesting.
Yeah.
I've never been on camera.
No, I can't have a good bath at a standard tub.
Yeah. You got to be rich.
It
You got to
goes
be
up
rich
to
and have
my
one of
dick.
those.
That's like
yeah.
Yeah, you need
What,
to.
are you standing in a bathtub? That's an odd. all right.
Crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's why only women slip in tubs.
It is a good chick way to die. But Bob Saget, again, though. Why? So then why did Bob
yes,
Saget
I
die in a
forgot.
tub?
No, he was assassinated. We all know it was. John Stamos.
I had to
killed him.
take out. Yeah.
Had to take out
He
Saget.
wanted America's Funniest Home Videos, the reboot.
Yeah, who is the guy that runs the reboot of America's Funniest
Is
Home
it
Videos?
Carlton?
Did we look into that?
Is it
I
Carlton?
think it is
Carlton now?
Carlton.
Is that still
which is
going
a
on?
great choice.
If Carlton was a serial killer that was murdering anybody in his way in Hollywood, that would be fantastic.
I think it would be fantastic if any celebrity above sea level was a serial killer. That's great news.
Yeah, well, the Garth Brooks conspiracy. you've
Garth
heard
Brooks
that, right?
conspiracy. I think Jim Carrey killed his girlfriend.
I heard this. I saw this on Wikipedia.
If you do like a pretty deep dive into
which
it,
is fairly reliable.
it's
That's how you said it.
it is really. I think Jim Carrey did kill his girlfriend. It does seem a bit. I like Jim Carrey.
or culpable. Holds culpability.
He does.
Sure,
It didn't seem innocent. Ultimately, he was
Her
never
family seemed
proven
very
of anything.
upset. However, I mean, I think it's easy to get very upset with a guy who can be like $5 million to just get rid of you.
Yeah, and he does talk very openly about how, Jim Carrey's one of those people who talk about like Hollywood's evil and whatever. He's very into that. So like, who knows if maybe he's trying to distance himself from things now? But okay, let's go down the list. I want to know. I'm going to pull up the list of the 25 most financially successful stand-up comedians right now. And I want us to go through who we think are the best comedians right now and see what the list has to do with each other.
Is Bill Cosby still performing? If so, he's number one.
I mean, you can still think Bill Cosby's a great comedian.
I do.
I actually do think he's a great
legit
comedian.
think he is probably the greatest comedian.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he is. Like, do you remember? Did you watch? Was it The Comedian? Was that the one with?
Jerry Seinfeld. The
Or
documentary?
with Orny Adams and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
where like Chris Rock was saying that he performed for like 3 hours and murdered the whole time. Is there
Yeah.
anybody who can do that now?
That's so funny because I do feel like your reputation early on would have been Orny Adams-ish.
Yeah, I could see that.
You're like,
yeah.
like kind of a try hard. And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
say that shittily. Honestly, I'm really not.
No.
But
You're calling him a
Do you mean
pick me.
material
Oh my God.
wise? Or personality wise?
I even like I would have to go back and watch more Orny to get a real, because I feel like he had like a thing, but like I personality wise and just that like you showed up at a time and were trying,
Yes.
like your whole thing is that you try. It is funny that is like the negative on
Well,
you.
you know, it's so funny that you say that because, like, I watched an interview with Billy Corgan and he was talking about how, like, in the 90s, during the grunge era, the shit talk that they got the most was that they were trying too hard. That
Yeah.
he tried too hard to put out a good album.
And it was, and that's, yeah.
Which he did. That's the thing. He put Melancholy Infinite Sadness, the greatest album, in my opinion.
I love that. No, I'm not against that entirely. I don't agree wholeheartedly, but I don't like hate the sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sanger doesn't
it
know
does,
anything
like-
about white people music.
And that's the thing. Like, the desire to be good at something is shit on. Is that a Canadian thing?
No, because
It's a
a lot of
comedian thing.
You think so? Because I was
Yeah.
going to say a lot of comics from New York that I like had that in their repertoire.
Our entire again, go back to Opie and Anthony. The entire idea was trying was yuck. You know, you have to be naturally funny or don't do this at all.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they all love Colin.
And he tries.
And who tried harder than Colin?
But then you also, I remember there's a Bill Burr quote where he said, like, you start doing stand-up because you're a naturally funny person, and it takes you 8 years to become that person on stage.
I love how many quotes you also have.
Sorry.
You know,
It's an encyclopedia of quotes. Okay, so I want to read
yeah,
this
the
list.
list.
Now, the problem is that once we get to number 2, there's no one in the world that's going to
Well, I
guess who
thought-
the number 2 richest comedian is.
I thought we were going to also play, and you both can play. Do I think I'm funnier than this person?
So I'm going to include that too.
Okay,
Yeah, because I want to say who I think I'm genuinely funnier than today. So how about this? I'll go through the 25 richest comedians, and then we'll determine who we all individually think we are funnier than.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So the number one richest comedian at $1.1 billion is Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes.
I will give Jerry Seinfeld is funnier in his own world. I'm not going to try to fight Seinfeld on this.
I think he's a better writer than me.
Yes.
I think I'm telling you for the last time is incredible. That's like an incredible comedy record.
I have no problem with this. I think number two, we're all going to start having like I'm going to right away go ahead and call out I'm funnier than number two.
Okay.
But number two is going to surprise you guys.
Is it Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart? No, Richard Pryor.
I almost
I'm
feel
just
like if you
joking.
guys kept guessing, you would figure this
I would
out.
figure. Most success. You have to think successful. Kevin Hart's a good guess because he must be top 5.
I don't think it's Chris Rock.
So I'm going to
Is
give
it
you guys
Adam
a hint.
Is it Adam Sandler?
I'm going to give you guys
I was
a
gonna say
hint.
Russell.
It's because he owns other comedians' work, not because of his own work himself.
Oh, Byron
Allen.
Byron Allen.
Byron Allen is the number 2 richest
Yeah,
comedian.
I don't know who that is.
So he now has the
I know you
CBS
do.
late show spot.
Okay.
Comics
but
Unleashed.
Comics Unleashed.
Yes,
remember,
okay, yeah,
bald
yeah.
black guy. He used to have fake conversations and say, "Oh, you."
So
Yeah.
Byron Allen, I believe, bought both Raw and Delirious.
Whoa.
He owns the rights to, I
he?
think, both those specials. So, and I think like a Richard Pryor. So he bought people's specials, and that's where he makes the majority of his money. Now, Comics Unleashed, he is doing what wrestling you say. I forget what that's called, but he rents the time slot from the channel, and then he gets the ad money. So he's like paying for his.
So it's like an infomercial, but there's advertising, but he collects that. 'cause
advertising.
He bought the slot.
Yes.
Whoa.
See, this is one thing. I don't want to tangent on this too long, but I feel like we focus too much on certain people get praised for their business acumen and savvy.
Yeah.
And one of my big arguments is they put a lot of on Jay-Z, but there's not really many artists that he developed into something amazing. A couple. Right, and he just made a lot of deals. Maybe the art of the deal, you could say he have. But when you hear stuff like that, you go, "Oh, that guy is
Byron
one of the
Allen.
greatest." businessmen."
I have a great example of this from basketball. When I lived in New York City, I worked at a coffee shop during the pandemic. That I really like the owner. He's a very smart business dude. He was actually the largest title insurer in New York City at one point. Title insurer being when you have a business, you have to insure the name of your business. It's a fucking weird thing, but
in case it gets struck by lightning.
It's actually a weird. There is and we should actually do a deep dive on this one day. It would be fun. But there's a guy who claimed he owned Petco Park, which is the baseball stadium in San Diego.
Okay.
And because he claimed he owned it, he actually made like a real problem for the city. Like it became like a rigmarole to prove this guy didn't just own the baseball stadium.
Because they didn't have title insurance.
They just didn't do the correct shit, and he found a loophole to claim ownership, and it became like a problem. Like he made some dough off it for sure. So this guy was a title insurer. Anyways, it's not about him. What it is one day, if you remember, if you're a basketball head at all, a Canadian basketball player named Samuel D'Alembert. He was a center. He played for the Sixers. He was kind of a journeyman in the NBA, but he went to China at the end. He went and played basketball in China. Okay. And Stephen Marbury went to China. He was a star in the NBA that went to China at the end of his career and became a huge... Stephen Marbury is the Michael Jordan of China.
Okay.
His shoes are the shoes... but because it's China, Stephen Marbury understood, as opposed to Michael Jordan, who made a deal with Jordan or with Nike. Stephen Marbury owns the factory that Marburys are made in, right? Like he learned the business right to the manufacturing of it all. So he's rich as shit. So all the guys that went and played in China all like learn from Marbury. So all the guys that went to China are like doing really well. So Samuel D'Alembert, again, he probably at most made $12 million one season, like in the NBA. Not that that's nothing, but he was a journeyman NBA player. He owns like 3 buildings in Manhattan because he learned. He's the Byron Allen of the NBA. I mean, I guess Stephen Marbury, to be fair, is the Byron Allen of the NBA.
Yeah.
But a guy who went and realized, like, oh, I can make way more money from this than, like, people are realizing. Wrestling, same thing.
Yeah.
There are guys who now have wrestling podcasts. Stevie Richards is a great example. Stevie Richards is not a household name in wrestling.
I don't
but
know.
afterwards, he has realized, like, I have a particular understanding of something. I'm going to talk about it on a high level, and I'm going to make money from it. Stevie Richards is making more money than your average ex-WWEer because he understood business. So that's Byron Allen. Do we all agree? Who thinks you're funnier than Byron Allen?
I'll tell you because you don't know him. You're funnier than Byron Allen.
Oh,
for sure.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Cool.
by far.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like
Cool.
Yeah. But
It
great
is like
businessman.
I haven't even seen Byron do stand up. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm funnier than him.
That's kind of a funny one.
Yeah. Number 3, I'm gonna concede to this gentleman. Not for stand up though. This is a problem. But Larry David.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he had a collection, like an act that was great.
If Larry David decided to get back to stand up tomorrow, he's one of the 5 best stand ups on the planet, as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
I think naturally funny.
Yeah. He's unbelievable. And I think I have a lot of. I used to get called Costanza when I was younger, and I was a fat kid, so I always took it personally. And I didn't. It wasn't until later when I watched Curb that I was like, because Costanza is Larry David.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until later when I was like, oh, I'm a Larry David-ish type person. And I could take it. For some reason, an elderly Jewish man was less offensive to me than a short fat guy. So I was okay being Larry David. I wasn't okay being George Costanza.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fat.
Pretty sure he's Jewish too, though.
He is.
Yeah,
yeah. But it really didn't matter so
He
much
really
on the
chose
show.
the Greekest name, Jason Alexander. That is the Greekest name you could pick.
Is that a fake name?
Yeah.
And what was strange
Maybe his
is
name's Jason, but his last name is definitely not Alexander.
But then he continued to do he continued to do
Jewed up his
Jew
career.
stuff
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
Like he was like Jew man at Just for Laughs 1 year. and stuff.
Superman.
Yeah.
Superman. He did a bit.
Really?
Where he wore Superman tights.
Yeah.
But there was a J, and it's. I remember I used to, as a young guy, watch all of Just for Laughs and enjoy all of it. I just loved watching everything, and that was the first bit that I sat there and watched and thought, this is fucking terrible.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I remember actually because it was what was the festival you did with Tim Dillon just before the pandemic
The
started?
Dark Comedy Festival. I had Tim, Mark Normand, and Shane.
I went to Dark Comedy Festival, and there were comics there who would come in from the U.S., and I was just like, whoa, they're international.
Yeah.
And they were, in my opinion, as a civilian, not
Sure.
good. And it was just like, it would help me be like, oh, I think I could do stand-up. If this is if you could travel internationally and be this bad, then I can definitely do this.
Right.
Well, and that is again becoming
No offense to
increasingly
the
the
comics
problem.
you picked.
That's okay. It's all good.
Can you whisper me the names after
I don't
the
remember.
podcast?
I think he means Tim.
I mean, Tim Dillon was incredible.
Okay,
oh my God, I was dying
Yeah.
laughing. And Tyler Morrison was hosting, who was also great.
Yeah.
Is Tim,
And those are the ones I remember.
is Tim hilarious on stage?
So
'Cause
Tim's a good listen.
Not a
I
lot of
think
clips
in
come out.
this conversation, Tim is a good because I love Tim.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for me in this moment to shit on Hinchcliffe. But I think Tim's an interesting thing. Tim's specials have not translated well. I don't think that Tim has a classic stand. By the way, I would also like to ask the question after and I'll give you a second to think about it while we're talking. What's the last classic stand-up special you can think of? And I have my answer, but we'll think about that in a second.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Tim has a classic stand-up special. What I will tell you is when I lived in New York the first time, me and Tim were on a somewhat similar level when I was there. I was on a lot of shows with Tim at that time. Tim was an animal. And I'm not talking compared to me. I'm talking compared to everybody. Tim was a monster.
I think he is a ridiculously funny comic.
'cause-
I saw him recently though, and with my brother, and he said that he watches his podcast all the time.
Yeah.
And he was saying that if you're a fan of Tim's podcast, then you might not like the special because there's a lot. It's like almost like he uses his podcast to develop the material.
Right, yeah.
And so I was belly laughing, like my stomach hurt. I was laughing so hard, but I don't really pay attention. I watch clips, but I don't religiously follow his podcast. So I thought he was incredible, but my brother was kind of like, it was okay.
Yeah, no, I get that. Even if you watch a lot of Opie and Anthony, Patrice even had bits that started on air and then yeah.
Well, and I think it is like it's kind of what I want to speak to on the entire thing is that the business model switched so much since I've been a comedian on it. I started comedy before podcasts were a thing. Even I mean, there was the Adam Currys and Red Bar and the handful of people who had internet radio shows, but podcasts weren't a thing. And I remember I opened for Mark Maron when he did Yuck Yucks because WTF was just big enough where Mark could sell out a weekend at Yucks.
Okay.
And like, so the little bit that Yucks sold itself, plus Mark's audience sold a weekend out at Yucks. And that was like Mark Maron was obviously the first guy, friend of the show. Mark Maron was obviously the first guy who like had that audience, and it was what we all understood was that we were going to do a podcast so that more people came to see us do stand-up. That was the entire. Nobody thought I'm going to charge for a podcast. Yeah. Nobody thought this is going to be my living.
It's literally just to get my numbers up. That's the only reason I did it.
And that was the idea initially was listen, I'm a great stand-up. I haven't been able to break through in the mainstream. Let me do a podcast that will find me a new audience that will come to see me do stand-up. And as we started with Patreon and podcast networks and things, where now all of a sudden we were monetizing our podcasts, when did you start seeing comedians putting up their specials for free on YouTube and whatever? We actually switched wholesale where the stand-up became free and the podcast, the thing that we didn't really put any work into ultimately, I mean, maybe you have a meeting for bits or whatever, but ultimately we don't go out every night and work on our podcast before you see our podcast. None of this has been workshopped. So like we then flipped it where the thing that we spend all of our time working on, we give you for free. And the thing that we're just riffing on a weekly basis, we started charging for.
Well, and it's because the product, social media, the product is the person, right? They don't, for us, the product is the stand-up. It's the material. But for the consumer, it's you.
But at what point do we have to divorce that then? At what point, because now it's not like when podcast started, there was all comedians. Right? There was no like, I'm a fucking home renovation guy that does a podcast. It was comedians or comedy adjacent people, Adam Curry and MTV, VJ, whatever. But it was comedy podcasts. And so that was at what point does being a podcaster and being a stand-up have to sort of be two different things where we go, because they're not the same muscle at all. I did Casting Couch in this city because I recognized we don't have popular podcasts here. We have no podcast system to work yourself through. And people are dog shit. Listen, I'm going to call out names. Whatever. Ryan Long and Ben Bankus are the two biggest comedians that come out of Canada in the last 10 years.
I agree. I maybe even longer because probably the biggest comic to come from Canada before them was Russell, and that was the early mid 2000s.
Yeah, and you could argue like John Doerr had some success or whatever, but yes, Ben and Ryan were Ryan. I like you, Ben. You're fine. You were dog shit at podcasts. You came out and they can fucking do this examination for themselves. You can watch the clips of Ryan's first Kill Tony. It's not good. It was famously attacked. Okay. And I'm not talking Ryan doing a spot on Kill Tony. I'm talking Ryan as the guest
doing the 1 minute?
He's sitting down.
Oh, okay.
His first time sitting down.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Is he doing worse than I'm doing right now? Because I feel like I'm not contributing very much to the pod.
Yeah, but this is not, we don't have an audience.
It's your podcast. I'm along for the ride here.
I say this with love. Rob talks a lot. So you're doing as much talking as I do?
Perfect.
Yep.
That's good.
I mean, guys, it's called Rob Loves Arguing.
Yeah. That's why I said
That's right. I do not. I don't want to argue
It is a bit
with
of a
Rob.
Rob Mayu project, but they were not good at podcasts. Ben, God bless him for doing the casting couch when he did, because he sold me a bunch of tickets and he made me money, and I love Ben for doing that. He's fucking horrible at it. And it's because podcasting is a different muscle, and we don't have anything here to exercise that muscle. We were just talking about the fact that, like, between you and Lee with Goblin and whatever, sometimes the focus switches and you become more of a podcaster than you become a stand-up to some degree, right?
I had a great time on your podcast, by the way, when I did.
I loved you. Were great on our podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah.
And also, Goblin and Ogre doesn't get the respect it deserves either.
I agree.
Goblin and Ogre is a perfectly funny fucking podcast that people should be listening to. But again, you guys don't have respect as stand-up, sorry, but you don't. And that is making people go.
You are universally liked, though. Everybody loves Anchor, man.
To be fair.
Yeah, but that's not building of a career. Being liked and being funny, unimportant in being said. Being good at.
You have an unfortunately guilty by association.
Yeah, there's a bit of that, but I also have an incapability to like schmooze and ask to be on a show and stuff like that.
I don't give a shit either. Like, I am in this like I was in high school. I have a friend in every group, but I'm not really a part of any of them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I will.
I'm Jay's lifeline to edgy world. If Jay wants to hang out with some people who will say the N-word casually.
No, thanks. I mean, no good. No, I'm good with that. But But I mean, like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't have to, like...
No. But what
I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. I just want to do stand-up.
No, I agree with you, and I wish that's all it was, because then I do think you're really funny stand-up, and you should just get booked. That's how it should be. But I'm not even begrudging people who, like, are overly friendly and fake. I don't like that. But I'm talking about... I'm a guy who's not fucking, and then you think, oh, it's terrible. No girls are fucking this guy. And then you find out I'm not even fucking asking any girls out. And I'm not asking to be on shows. I'm not like saying, like, literally did Groove Bar the other day, and somebody walked up to me, hey, I have this show about like marriage stuff. You're getting married. I think it'll be a good fit or whatever.
Nice.
I have not sent a single message since then, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just how my brain is. So that's one thing I do think is a part of the Toronto stand-up community. I don't know if that's maybe a New York thing as well, wherever else, but you're supposed to ask and advocate for yourself to be on shows.
It's different in Toronto, though. I think that, like, our scene is very fragmented. I think we have lots of different groups that sometimes, like, coalesce along the edges. But, like, there's no, like, just one singular thing.
Yeah.
Right? There's, like, Yucks people. There's corner people. There's, like, the absolute people. There's comedy bar people. There's the safe space people. There's the edgelords. Like, and sometimes each of these groups touch, but, like, it's not one cohesive thing.
But the most successful people are always the people who navigate all of those worlds.
Yes.
The people who come out of the scene have always, I will always say, like, Chris Locke is a very funny guy. He was, when I started, I looked at Chris as the mayor of Alt Town.
Okay.
You know, like, he was over in that world, and he was like the man of his world. But it wasn't until Chris got with Yuck Yucks that I felt that Chris fully tapped into how funny Chris was, because he was able to live in his little town and make his little town folk laugh.
Yes.
But it's that, like, taking your thing and bringing it to everybody that makes you... Listen, I've been a comedian who could kill for a long time. But I've also, for a large portion of that, been a comedian who might bomb. And it wasn't until I could take what I do everywhere and make it work for everyone before it did anything.
Chris Robinson has a good quote, because I got quotes. Local jokes get you local work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that a lot. So it's like you need to, and I'm sure we've all done shows where you're going out of town to a small town, and then the guy you brought with you opens with, I was on the subway. You know the subway? You know the TTC? And they're like, no.
I have no relatability to this whatsoever. The amount of times I've had to explain to New York comedians we don't know what Puerto Ricans are here is hilarious. Where we just go like, they don't come here. They're allowed in your country. They're not going to jump an extra fucking border for no reason. So like, you guys got Puerto Ricans.
Oh, it's colder?
Yeah. No reason Puerto Ricans would come here. So those New York comics always want to do Puerto Ricans, and you're like, we don't have
Yeah.
them. Call it, just say Mexicans. We won't know the difference.
Which is funny, yeah, because we also don't get a lot of Mexicans. We do now for some reason.
we also, but
which
we
I'm trying to figure out.
understand what Mexicans are.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, whereas Puerto Ricans mean nothing to us.
They're more famous.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Tony
Okay.
Hinchcliffe, terrible
Here,
comic.
I don't want to take.
We made it to 2.
Yeah.
And
Three.
the second one
Three.
wasn't
Larry
really,
David.
He's not.
By the way,
really
is
a comic.
there a show?
Yeah. No.
this is it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Kevin Hart. I'm just gonna give it to him because lots of people think Kevin Hart's funnier than me.
I think he's funnier than me. That's fine.
Jay Leno. Fine.
I hear he's hilarious.
I've heard his
I've heard that
stand-up's
too.
very good.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler. Fine.
I heard back in the day, is this the rumor when I was in high school is that he didn't spend his Tonight Show money. He saved all of that and he lived off his stand-up money.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
that's very true.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Made the most.
Adam
Was he a
Sand-
working stand-up when he was? I don't know if you guys would know that.
Yeah,
Was he a
I've seen
working
those
stand-up?
and shit.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But he was working while he was hosting the
I
show.
heard he still did 200 dates a year.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Fucking work ethic,
Because you forget,
man.
like, that, I believe, right, the show would have been recorded in the afternoon.
How do you write? That's the thing. How do you write when you're doing that show? You're doing 200 shows a year. How do you find the time to write the time? Or do you not? You just slowly accrue it. Like Seinfeld's approach is very different. Like a lot of comics are like they do a special and then they retire that material, whereas Jerry's is like a continuing, evolving blob
I
of
think
jokes.
he's like that. I think
right?
he's
and
like
he just
that.
keeps like every 10 years it's all new.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jerry
right,
says,
you
what,
know?
5% a year? You got
Something
right up
like
for
that. Yeah, he's
10% a
always
year.
cycling things in and out.
Yeah,
right?
he also
Whereas-
doesn't believe Palestine's a country. So, we all got our ideas.
It is?
Yeah. Are you? All right. Hey, good for you. He is smart at the business. Okay, hold on. I'm going to amend this because I have found out who made the most in 2026. I think that list was a little bit fucked up. Where are we at right now?
Yeah, we're at 107. So we
Okay,
can
cool. We'll do this. We'll do
race
this
to the
fast.
end.
Okay.
So the highest grossing comedian.
I think I know who it is.
Who do you think?
Nate Bargatze?
Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Who
This
is-
guy does his math. Yeah.
Who's incredible.
Nate Bargatze
is incredible.
If I was
So
to guess, you're a
he's
fan
one of
of?
those guys where like that I love the craft, and he is so difficult to pick like how he's making the laughter occur. He's so good.
When I asked the question earlier, what was the last classic stand-up special? I would argue that Tennessee Kid was the last special that I watched. I consider classic.
Is that the one where he wears like not a Letterman's jacket, but it's like it's a jacket.
It's just a
there are some
bomber.
great
Yeah,
specials
bomber,
out there.
yeah.
I think John Mulaney's New in Town is
That's
fantastic.
before Tennessee Kid, though.
Yeah, but yes, it is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
fantastic. But like, I don't know.
But isn't that crazy? Because
But yeah, we're going earlier than 2020.
I mean, New in Town might be 2014.
It's possible.
You know, like
we're also talking classic. Insinuates like it. There's many people who would say they love this because like the last special I watched that I'm like I will watch it tonight if I felt like it is Different Strokes by Keith Robinson, right? But
Wow,
I don't
really?
think I loved it. It's
okay,
great.
all right, that's
But
very interesting.
I don't think anybody else.
but you
is
can't
like,
call it a classic.
That's what
special.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. It's
special
not
to you.
It's like loving an MF Doom album. Like you're kind
Yeah.
of you and
Oh,
another
that's me
guy.
in all music though. I
Yeah.
only listen to music that most people will hate. Yeah.
Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Knock Loose. I listen I
yeah.
listen to the heavy shit that
Okay.
Yeah, he's very surprising that way. That's why I like another reason why I like Jay Rainville, wrestling and fucking hardcore music.
I don't like wrestling.
Yeah, but I feel like
I like UFC.
yeah, okay, all right, never mind. That wasn't what it was. But hardcore music.
You didn't like it in the attitude area when you were like a teen or whatever?
No,
He was
I
Christian. You
No,
couldn't.
no, I know a lot of
okay.
Christians that like wrestling, but I was into it when I was like 8. But my dad detested wrestling. He really poisoned us against it. I think he thought it was a lowbrow form of entertainment.
Did he have a particular
Oh,
person he hated?
No. He just hated the ethos of it.
Okay.
However, I did see WWF at Maple Leaf Gardens. Like I saw Hulk live.
That's it.
What
yeah.
You're talking about WrestleMania 18? With
No,
The Rock?
not a WrestleMania.
That's
It was just
nah,
a
that
regular
was Rogers Center,
regular
sir.
tour
Oh,
date.
yeah.
I understand a lot of people had that, but I will always contest that wrestling is actually the most important art form to understand in the entire world. And I think 2-time WWE Hall of Famer Donald Trump would agree with that.
I have no disrespect for it, but I don't find it entertaining.
It's not Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Hulk Hogan documentary.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Moved me to
you can
tears.
You can watch things
Kennedy
around
cried
it.
a lot at that.
Yeah?
Kennedy genuinely, if I ever dyed my mustache blonde, she's going to be so afraid that I'm going to start cheating on her because she's just afraid I'm going to turn heel. Yeah.
I feel like people like Kennedy's, that's their first name? I feel like people who named their daughter a last name as the first name, they got money. That's like my son. Like, I know a guy, his girlfriend's name is Delaney.
Very good.
Yeah. That's great name. A cool mom who wanted you to have a bright
By the way,
future.
I love that when you say you have a young mom, you're also saying you have a cool dad. Like at the same time, you're kind of saying
but he's
both.
not young.
Yeah, he's cool, but he's not young. I love her dad rules. Okay, here.
Yeah,
all
go
right.
through the
Let me go
names.
through this list, and we'll get out of here so you can pee. I feel like you came here to pee, and then
You know, I feel like when I stand up, I'm really gonna feel it.
yeah. So Nate Bargatze, Kevin Hart, number 2. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm funnier than Kevin Hart at this point, but overall, Kevin Hart considered funnier than
Well,
me.
but do you think that you were funnier than Kevin Hart at his funniest?
No, I do not.
Yeah.
But I do believe I'm funnier than Kevin Hart today. Like if me
I'm
and
not
Kevin
making
Hart
any assertions
each
about-
had to put out an hour
Yeah.
today, I believe my hour will be a higher quality hour. But granted, I've been able to work on that hour for 18 years without anyone noticing. So
Yeah.
that's a little
It's
unfair.
like
grooming
it's
your
like a
hour.
band's first album.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason it's the best one.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's true.
Okay, Adam Sandler, number 3. I don't know why Adam Sandler made so much money doing stand-up last year, but
But he was doing those like shows where he
Arena,
played guitar and shit.
yeah.
Yeah, that one's specific.
Seinfeld is 4. Chappelle is 5.
No.
Now, this will be the first one where we can get contentious.
Uh-huh.
Matt Rife at number 6.
Yes to.
I don't know him enough.
I'm funnier than Matt Rife, and I don't care. And that's not even to say this is me being confident.
Yeah.
I don't think Matt Rife is a horrible comedian.
No.
And I actually do think he cares about the craft of stand-up. I think that his processing speed is very slow, and I would destroy him in processing speed.
I like that he went hard on his first special. He went hard. He was
He,
just
like,
like,
almost turned
it's
on
just
his
like, you know, my demographic. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right. Like he just.
I think you're all
like,
idiots who should be raped and killed.
Respect.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah.
like, I want to kill and do good for the boys.
Yeah, he really did try to earn
I
the
love
boys.
that.
Oh, I'll have to watch it. Yeah, you might know more than me.
He got a lot of shit for kind of like being
was-
like a bro, but like, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a hot guy. I remember the first person to tell me about it was a female friend of mine.
I mean, and kudos to him because I think it's possible to be too attractive to be funny.
Yeah.
It, like before people
deal with
just
that
hate
every
you.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is why you had to become a podcaster
yeah.
who's not on camera.
It's the main reason I think about quitting comedy is
Yeah.
I'm too attractive. Who's next?
I will say number 7, this is a person who is the opposite thing. I'm not even a fan, but I understand that Sebastian Maniscalco is a master of
yeah.
everything to do with stand-up comedy. Like, he's one of the people, like Nate.
He is a sniper because he knows his fucking persona.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
knows exactly what he
And there's
needs to
nothing
say.
he does on stage that's not intentional.
Yes.
He's not lazy. He doesn't come up. It's not just movement for the sake of movement. Every fucking move he makes is purposeful. I will
And
always
in
give him
character.
credit.
Not too cool for huge act outs that get that fucking payoff.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah. That's I mean, who's the last, like, who does act outs now? You know, like,
I'm starting to do more.
God bless.
The bigger, the better.
But-
If I can,
Yeah.
if you can do an act out, do an act out.
but it's just, I feel like comedy's become such a cool kid art that act outs are too, like, people don't want to do act outs now.
yeah,
I feel like
Unless
how
you're
can
ethnic.
how can you do comedy and not? I don't like. I feel like it's just. It's like in a band and don't play power chords. Like
I have found in my own stand-up, people would think that because I'm a sit-down guy,
Yeah.
that is because I've become less animated. But I actually found that sitting down has made me more purposefully animated.
I remember
Yeah,
you
yeah.
telling me that it's very intentional.
I
Yeah.
used to just pace. I would be moving, but I'd be moving for no reason at all. And now because I sit, my hands, my arms, if I do stand up and do something, all of that has a purpose now. Like I'm getting a very intentional laugh off getting up and doing something because I'm sitting down. This is way less fun than I thought it was going to be, but Gabriel Iglesias, I don't know. I didn't even know.
He's actually really good.
I'm sure
I
he's
like him.
fantastic.
Yeah,
He kind of defeats the purpose too. Shane is great.
Yeah.
Bert.
Shane is, how much money did Shane make?
So last year he made between $20 and $35 million touring.
Hell yeah. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Doing it the right way. None of us are going to say we're funnier than Shane. That's not going to happen. So we'll get to the next guy who is Bert Kreischer.
So maybe I have to get more into this. Is that I'm not going to say I'm funnier than Shane. I think Shane's stand-up is slightly overrated.
I would disagree. I think Shane's stand-up is very
I
good.
think he's good.
think he's
when was the
good.
last time you saw him?
I watch clips here and there.
Okay.
I watched most of one of his specials.
Actually,
and
I think if
like
we're gonna
it.
talk classic specials, though, I think that ending of his whatever the Netflix
Beautiful Dogs.
special was,
Yeah.
Beautiful Dogs, like that is a top tier, like flawless bit. That is incredible. It's like
I think
him
Austin,
at the him at the what's it called, the Washington estate, like
yeah, when he does a recreation,
the reenactment of like George Washington's house, like that. Like there are so many incredible bits in that.
I think you could argue Live at Austin is.
I mean, there's some good ones too.
I think that he revolutionized my idea of a special now. I think he changed a very important thing about specials. In that special, if you remember, the first bit is about when each state had to come up with age of consent. So they were like,
that was the Live in Austin? I thought
Austin.
it was him talking about his hair. Oh, you mean bit. He was like riffing on his haircut.
Because that's the thing. It's a pre-title screen bit. He took something that happened later in the set that maybe didn't fit, took it out, and put it as this like sort of pre-credits bit where he goes, the gentleman from Rhode Island says 12. And everybody goes, ooh, 12. And he's like, why do I have to go first? Like, that was such a great, where when I was recording my last thing, that never even came out, but when I recorded it, I remember having a thing later that I told the producer, I was like, take that out and put it first. And then have the title screen and whatever.
By the way, I respect that a lot. I know of other comics that have not, like, if you're not happy with the product, then why would you put that? Like, that's a statement of you.
It
like,
literally was just, it came out, it took a little too long to produce. And I was like, by the time this is out now, I don't think it's a good representation of the product. And I didn't want it out there.
Oh,
I have
Dr.
like one
Dre.
or two. What was
Dr. Dre is famous for making albums and never coming out with them because he decides it's not ready.
Oh, really?
Kanye, a lot of unreleased
Or
music as well.
Prince, where you just make it for you.
In your
You know what he
bathroom.
did? He fully wrote and produced a song a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what he would do. He was nuts. He would just have a full-time engineer. He's like, hand me the bass.
Just taking a dump.
Prince, by the way, absolutely overrated.
See, as I get
gonna
older,
go to the bathroom.
As I get older,
How dare you
I start
fucking
having
shit
a
talk
very
Prince.
hard time with that and whatever. You know what? We've done this long enough. We're gonna end on Prince being overrated. Thanks for coming in, Jay. I appreciate it. It was unexpected. Jay Rainville, everybody at Jay Rainville Comedy.
Yeah.
At Jay Rainville Comedy. Thanks everybody. That's Rob Lazar. Goodbye.